Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today is Tuesday, 14th June 2016. So we will first start with our prayers. Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavate uttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naistiki Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya So we are into first canto, second chapter. Yesterday we finished half of the chapter. Today we'll finish the rest of it. So I have taken one shloka again from the second chapter for recitation. And this is the shloka number 17 of the second chapter. We will just chant that. Shanvatam Swatkatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantastoya Abhadrani Vidunoti Suhrat Satam Shanvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantastoya Abhadrani Vidunoti Suhrat Satam. Sudeep Prabhu can chant.
Shanvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Daya Antastoya Bhadrani Surhut Satam
Shanvatam. Those who have developed the urge to hear that message of. Swakatha. His own words. Krishna. The personality of Godhead. Punya. Virtues. Shravana. Hearing. Kirtanaha. Chanting. Hridi Antastha. Within one's heart. He certainly. Abhadrani. Desire to enjoy matter. Vidunoti. cleanses,
cleanses,
Suhrat,
Surat,
benefactor,
benefactor,
Satam,
Satam,
of the truthful.
of the truthful.
Translation. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So please repeat. Shri Krishna,
Sri
Sri
Krishna,
Krishna,
the personality of Godhead,
the personality of
Hare
Godhead,
Krishna, the personality of Godhead,
who is the Paramatma
who is
who is the Paramatma
in everyone's heart
in everyone's
in everyone's heart,
and the benefactor of the truthful devotee,
and
the benefactor of
and
the
the benefactor of the
truthful
truthful
devotee,
devotee,
cleanses desire for material enjoyment
cleanses
cleanses desire
desire for material enjoyment,
from the heart of the devotee
from the heart of the devotee,
heart of the
who
devotee,
has developed the urge to hear his messages,
who has developed the urge
urge
to
to
hear
hear his messages,
which are in themselves virtuous
which are in themselves
which are
virtuous
in themselves virtuous,
when properly heard and chanted.
when properly heard and chanted.
and properly heard and chanted.
So you can mute your mics, please. Srila Suhuta Goswami now is answering the questions asked by Shaunaka Rishi on behalf of all the saints. And we saw yesterday that he was talking about the process, how single-minded devotion to Krishna can bring wonderful results. And he's continuing. If you remember, I told that it is only half done yesterday. So it's continuing, and this is the very first shloka of the second part. So you can see here, Krishna's position is determined here, that he is, first of all, he is Paramatma. Krishna says that I go and I expand and go and sit with each and every Atma as Paramatma. So in every body in this universe and all other universes has a soul and a super soul. And then, of course, for a devotee, he comes as a benefactor. He benefits the devotee in every which way. May not be so much material sometimes, because of course, he is not cruel that he will take away all your material, but he will take away the material things only when he finds a suitable candidate for progress. Then he may say, why you want to get attached to this? So there is a very nice story to illustrate this particular point. There was a very rich man in a city and a very poor Brahmana. This rich man has big mansion and cars, luxurious cars, the most expensive ones, servants and good wife and everything, opulent. And this poor man had almost nothing. He had only one cow, which he used to take care. And then, so one day, Narada Muni was sitting with Krishna, and then Krishna said, oh, I had to just sit down for 2 minutes, I had to finish one job. And Krishna immediately provided one more super luxury car to the rich man. And then he asked his servants to take away the cow from the poor Brahmana. And Narada was bewildered. So immediately he didn't like it also. So he was very frank and open with Krishna. So he says, Maharaj, what is going on? What are you doing? You are supposed to be a very just person. You do always justice, I'm told. But now this is cruelty. So Krishna started smiling. He says, what happened? He said, the rich man already had 3-4 cars, Now you gave him one more supercar. What is this? He doesn't need that. And this poor man, he's depending only on that cow. That's his livelihood. He just takes the milk and then sells, and he manages his household. And that cow also you're taken away. What is this? What kind of justice is this? How you say you are unbiased and impartial? So Krishna kept smiling and he says, Narada, you are very, very innocent. You don't know the real thing. He says, you think I'm some stupid person. I don't know what's going on. He said, the rich man, actually in his previous life, he had donated so many things to the charity that not only these 3-4 cars, he is due for more. He'll get at least 20 more cars. I just gave him one. Right now, it was one in his account. And he says, he has nothing to do with me. That's his karma. Karma phala he is enjoying. And he's not a devotee. And so I am also, see, he doesn't even talk about me. So I keep him busy. Okay, you be busy in your material things. Here is one more car. That is due to you anyway. I don't interfere in that thing. And this poor Brahmana is a nice devotee. He's a wonderful devotee. He says, he just keeps chanting my name and does all this service. But the problem is, he says, this cow was like an impediment for him in his progress. Because he's spending so much time on this cow. Feeding her, bathing her, taking her out, milking and then selling them. It's a big occupation for him for the most of the day. And he's not able to chant his round properly. He's not able to do other services. So he says, I took the cow away. Now he's happy. You are saying all this, but you go to the Brahmana and see whether he's happy or he's not happy. He's absolutely happy because he realized, a devotee takes the punishment also, some punishment or Krishna taking away some material thing away, as a benefit, not as a punishment. So exactly here it says, Krishna cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee. For whom? Who is Shranavato. Shranavatam. Shranavatam means who is eager to hear the glories of the Lord. Like all of you. Every day, Monday to Thursday, you're all there. I'm sure you're looking forward to this class as much as I am looking forward to talk about Krishna. And that's why you're there. There's so many, they are not there. So many desire their interest to attend, but important things come in life. So you have to set your priority. And this is what exactly this shloka, Suta Goswami is talking about. And then he says, if you hear this message properly and then glorify the Lord. Yesterday that question came whether the Lord loves the flattery. I wanted to add one point to that. That actually the Lord is totally independent. His first quality is Swarat and he is Atmaram. Swarat means totally independent. Atmaram means he is self-satisfied. He doesn't need. There are millions and millions of devotees serving him. In Goloka Vrindavan, he has everybody is serving him. So he doesn't need. He doesn't. He doesn't. He is not hungry. He is not thirsty. He is not. All that he does is for our benefit only. Because by serving him, when we see Krishna pleased, then we also get that pleasure. And for that, to give us that mercy, he is accepting all this name, glory of the name, etc. He doesn't need actually anything. So that we must understand that, Krishna's life will carry on without us. He absolutely does not need our service. But then, out of love, he accepts it. He says, If you give me patram pashpam phalam toyam in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, he says, I will accept it. But what is the condition? You have to give it with love. You can't throw at it, I mean, like you throw it at a beggar. No. So now I will stop this sharing, and then I will continue with the katha. Just give me a second. So we are at 17. So now, yesterday I also talked about the two mantras we are chanting, the two shlokas we are chanting. Narayanam Namaskritya, and second one Nashta Prayashu Abhadeshu. So this one is also important equally, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. It's not that, as I said yesterday also, it's not that we just do it for some fun or for as a, okay, nice jokes in the class or something like that. That's not the reason for us. We are doing as a service. The service to the Lord. The Shravanam part is one of the Navamida Bhakti. Okay. So, this computer is playing games. Wow. I'm clicking once and it's clicking twice. Okay. I'm just trying to, speak something from the purport also, so that way we complete the complete reading. So what point is important here is that if you want to develop bhakti, if you like bhakti, if you like devotional service, then this is the best method, is to hear Bhagavatam on a daily basis. Millions and millions of souls have become devotees by just paying attention with full heart. That's all. That's all is needed. Full oral reception, as it's called. And this is recommended by Sutta Goswami, who has already seen everything. And then what happens? Once we establish this love for Krishna, this bhakti for Krishna, then all this Rajogun and Tamogun, everything, start reducing. The quantity of Sattva Guna, mode of goodness, increases slowly, and finally you become totally in the mode of goodness. But mode of goodness is also not enough. It may come as a surprise to some of you. Because the moment we say guna, yes, guna means to a rope and it is binding. So what acharyas are recommending for devotees is that you develop Vishuddha Sattva. Vishuddha Sattva, meaning purified goodness. No tinge of material thing in that. The moment there is a material thing, then the binding remains. So this process helps you overcome that. Shuddha Sattva. That comes as a surprise to many, and they say, what is this? People say that you should be a good person, and then we don't accept him as a good person unless he is a devotee. Why? Sometime the question may come. I hope somebody asked that question today. The answer, I will reserve the answer for now, If somebody asks me, then I will get that answer. It's very interesting. And then, once our mind is developed into devotion, this is all is a gradual process, you know. You go from one portion to the next, to the next, to the next. You know, you just like what we study. You know, you start from nursery and then slowly you go elementary, middle, high, and etc. etc. So similarly here also the same thing. So once because you know this process is so wonderful that everything happens automatically. It's not that, you know, you have to do something extraordinary or something. No, simple processes. Just give up one and take up another. And then that I'm reminded of the caterpillar, you know. We are all like caterpillars. A caterpillar, I don't know whether you have noticed or seen in a Discovery Channel or something. When he's leaving one leaf and then transferring to other leaf, you know, on the tree you can see, and they show it in a close-up. So he's on one leaf, and then he's, you know, with all those legs, he tries to probe the other leaf. And then puts a little weight. And if he's not sure, he doesn't move, you know. But once he gets a little leverage there, and he knows now he can shift the whole weight, then you go. So we are all like that, you know. We just try the spiritual thing a little, and then take one step back, and then one step. And like that, we are always in that situation. And when we somehow or the other, by Krishna's mercy, Guru's mercy, association of devotees, we get a little confidence that yes, this is the process. Then we, you know, then we move. And then some are very fast, some are not those so fast. You know, it's all individual's case, because Krishna's relationship with every individual is different. And we should not be surprised that there are very few devotees compared to others. Even compared to devotees of other Devi Devatas, the devotees of Krishna are very few. And nothing to get surprised, because Krishna himself says that out of millions and trillions, only few are interested in this science of Krishna consciousness. And out of that, he says, one may reach the goal of going back to him. So that doesn't mean that we should give up. You know, sometimes we think, okay, oh my God, this is 1 out of million, then what are my chances? You know, no. We should always think that, yes, I'll be the next one. Let me, you know, of course you have to put efforts. Efforts and mercy. Your efforts, Krishna's mercy makes you progress. So this is very natural. People, you know, in generally when we were we are from India, most of us. So for us, the Brahmana was supposed to be the highest, right? Dvija. Very few people know the difference between Brahmana and a Vipra. And then Vipra is a learned Brahmana, you know, he's already studied most of the scriptures, and then he becomes Vipra. And then from Vipra, he can become, once he becomes a devotee also, then he becomes Vaishnava. So when we say Vaishnavas, all our devotee friends are Vaishnavas. They're already crossed the Brahmana Vipra stage, because they are rendering direct devotional service to Krishna, right? So the scriptures put them at a very high place, but we shouldn't become arrogant about it. We shouldn't become, you know, egoistic that, oh, I am superior than others. No, devotee is always in a very humble situation, should remain in a very humble situation. But these are all like, you know, being a Vaishnava, you should feel good about it. You should not feel, you know, oh my God, I'm such a useless person. You know, that's okay. One time somebody told Prabhupada, I'm the most insignificant. Generally we say that, you know. Certain things we say without even knowing what the meaning of that. So when he told that to Prabhupada, Prabhupada immediately says, no, you are most nothing. Don't try to glorify yourself by saying you are most insignificant. So that others say, oh, no, Prabhu, you are exalted, you are this, Mataji, you are exalted. So he says, no, you are most nothing. So this process of devotional service, Suta Goswami says, will that knot we are talking about, right? The knot which binds us. The knot is of what? It's of ignorance, and then it's also of misgivings. We have so many misgivings in our mind. So with knowledge, with association of the devotees, and with mercy of the spiritual master, you can cut this knot to pieces. You can just get away from that.
At what time?
Probably just before 5 o'clock, between 4:30 and 5.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Please mute yourself, your mic. Thank you. So, once this knot is broken, cut to pieces, then it's very easy to progress. Like, this Brahmana, I told you, poor Brahmana, no more knots. No cow, no. So he's now, because, for his own sustenance, the Brahmanas just go to others' houses and, people will feed, anybody will feed him. Anybody will give him a dhoti and a chadar. So not that, you have to, everybody has to struggle. This is the one gift of the modern world, that everybody has to struggle, because somebody struggles, so he wants everybody else to struggle too. So whatever we are talking, Suta Goswami says, from time immemorial, the transcendentalists, the devotees, they have been doing this. They have been practicing this devotional service. And how? With great delight. This is important. All the service that we do should be done sukham, happily, not as an imposition, not as a burden. The moment we start thinking like that, then all our enthusiasm is gone. So that's very, very, very important for us to understand. And it's very rare, first of all, to get a human birth, and then very rare to get an opportunity to serve the devotees of the Lord, because that's what he likes more than, worshipping him and serving him. He's after all, he's our true friend. He is, he's just available. He's just so merciful. Keeps forgiving us every now and then. He's so merciful that although he has nothing to do with this material world, he participates. He comes as a human being. He comes as a queen or king or, animals also, just to distribute his mercy. He's not ashamed. Oh, how can I become a boar or a fish? I'm Supreme Lord. He's Supreme. He declares in Bhagavad Gita that I am the Supreme. And then he's still ready to do all this, play with the coward boys, run away from the mother. There's so many activities it does, that he actually doesn't have to have anybody. But out of his mercy, he has appointed so many Devis and Devatas as in charge of different departments. He says at one place that even just by raising his eyebrow, he can destroy or create all these universes. He says this whole entire, in Bhagavad Gita, at one point he says, all the universes and all these wonderful things that you are seeing, are just a spark of his opulence, just a spark. So when we are worshipping Krishna, we are not worshipping some superhuman being or some avatar or something. He is the supreme personality of Godhead, as Srila Prabhupada says. There are so many expansions. We are going to read in Bhagavatam the various expansions of Krishna, the 24 avatars, and then the Purusha avatars and Leela avatars, the Guna avatars and Shakti Avesha avatars. We are going to read everything. We are going to hear everything about them. It's a vast, vast subject matter. It's not some, something which can be finished in just few days or few months. And then even for 3 modes, he has appointed 3 personalities: Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Brahmaji is for mode of passion. Vishnu is for mode of goodness. Lord Shiva is controlling. They are not in that, but they are controlling these 3. Lord Shiva is controlling the mode of ignorance. And he is doing a wonderful service, in the sense he takes care of all these ignorant people, who are less than human beings sometimes. But Lord Shiva is so munificent, he's called Ashutosha, because he knows people will just come to him for some material benefits, and he will just give them and get rid of them, because he himself is not interested in that. Okay. So try to go through the rest of it. If you want to enter into Krishna's kingdom, there's only one qualification. We should be completely sinless. Of course, sometimes Krishna picks up somebody by special mercy, but if we have to, it's like a qualification. You have to enter into a PhD class, you must have done your master's, otherwise, you forget about it. The same way, want to enter into, because that word is not something ordinary or even extraordinary. Is beyond our perception. So what we have to do? We have to follow the path of great personalities. In Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, just follow the path of great personalities. We don't have to imitate them, but we have to follow their instructions. That's why we need a spiritual master, guru. And then now, let's discuss as Sutta Goswami talks a little about Devi Devatas. He said among the Devi Devatas, they're all serving Krishna for certain purposes. But among them, there are, some very ghastly in appearance, then their whole appearance is so horrible. But there are people who worship, right? There are people who worship the ghosts and the pitras and pishachas and so on and so forth. But a devotee is not bothered about that. He knows that if any Devi or Devata can provide him what he wants, then Krishna can definitely provide. That kind of confidence a devotee has. That's why a devotee takes Krishna's instruction seriously when Krishna says that surrender to me, only me. He doesn't say, okay, I am one of them, you can choose. Or no, he just says, ultimately, Bhagavad Gita's final instruction, just forget about everything, whatever you heard, just surrender to me. I will take care. That he gives a guarantee also. So we have to be very careful. We definitely do not blaspheme or do not degrade any Devi Devatas. They are wonderful, wonderful souls. They are serving Krishna much, much better than we can even imagine. Of course, they got the facility also, but they all earned that position. They're all positions. It's like a minister. Minister name may change, but ministry will not change. It's like Indra is a post, Brahma is a post, like that. They're all posts. positions, and different personalities are selected at different times. So that's a subject matter we will discuss in detail when it comes to that. Right now, it is just going through the generally Suta Goswami is clarifying the doubts of Shaunaka Rishi. So here it talks about how people are attracted to wealth and women, and the other way around, women are attracted to men. But this everything is not going to get us anywhere near Krishna. Ultimately, it is Vasudeva only. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. When we say, we mean that we want to surrender to one son of Vasudeva, Shri Krishna. So as we said in the very first day, the whole purpose is to please Krishna. Okay. So here it says very nicely, he says, the purpose of performing sacrifice is to please Krishna. Yoga is for realizing him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. He says it in Bhagavad Gita. I'm the one who gives the results. So don't worry, even if you worship a devata or something, ultimately he has to take my permission only to even award you something. So he is the supreme. Everybody is serving him. The dharma is serving him. The devatas are serving him. The same devata whom we are asking something, they are in fact depending on the yajna, the offering in the yajna. And yajna can be done only for Vishnu, Krishna. Again, and I'm just throwing these things at you because I know that immediately there will be some who will start asking questions, and so I will get an opportunity to clarify those things. Okay. I think now we have come to the end of our time. So almost coming to the end of this chapter. Just bear with me. Okay. So Krishna created this all universes, and he entrusted this job. He had the blueprint, everything given, all the raw material, everything is given to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji has been told, okay, now you. So, but we think that Brahmaji is the creator, and Brahmaji himself knows that he is not the creator, and that will come. That's the most beautiful part of Bhagavatam, is that Brahmaji, when he prays to Krishna, and he just prays only one thing, that let this pride not come to me that I am the creator. He knows it. The same way, when in Bhagavad Gita, there is a shloka which says, we are not the doer. The moment we realize that we are not the doer, then everything is fantastic. The moment we realize that, that we are just a nimitta. Everything is already arranged in the master blueprint. And I told you that Krishna as super soul enters into each body. All the 8.4 million species, they are individual souls, and then Krishna is there as a super soul. So that is why it is important for us to focus on the supreme, the super soul. Okay. Finally, he says in this chapter, the Lord of the universes maintains all planets inhabited by devatas, men and lower animals. Assuming the roles of incarnations, he performs pastimes to reclaim those in mode of pure goodness. Reclaim. The purpose of Krishna's pastime is to reclaim all the souls who are gone away from him. So that's part we will discuss in detail. Okay. So thank you very much. Like to stop here. If you have any questions, comments, we can take it up. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you for the wonderful lecture.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I had one doubt. Like when we say he will be reclaiming, he's reclaiming. So, we have any reference as such, like, we were into Golok at some point of time and we...
Of course. Otherwise, the whole purpose of going back to Godhead, what is that? When we say we'll go back to Godhead, means we came from there. You go back only from where you come. We cannot go to some place and call it that I'm going back to that place.
So, Prabhuji, we have any reference, like,
Yeah. There are references. There's a whole big, huge discussion going on this for many years. I'm watching this for last 30 odd years. There is some people say no, we are always here and we'll always remain here and things like that. But the very fact that we are always eager to serve Krishna, every soul has a relationship with Krishna and he wants to serve and wants to serve more. And that can happen only in a pure stage, where there are no impediments. Right now we are having so many impediments in serving, right? In this material world, it's not easy. So there are references. If you want, you can I can get that for you. There are references where it says that we were with him, and then because he is Swarat, we also had that quality in a small quantity, and we wanted to use that, because when we saw everybody serving Krishna so happily, so the thought came that if I become Krishna, then everybody will serve me, right? Because when you see the freedom of Krishna, then in some tinge of enviousness comes. And moment that comes, Krishna is, we think like that, and Krishna is he knows in and out of every particular individual soul. So he immediately grants that, okay, this soul is not happy serving me, so let him go. He doesn't only throw you out, he creates an entire material world for you to have a first-hand experience. And that's why when we have this experience, we ultimately want to go back, because this experience is not so good. It's good in only some small little patches. Okay?
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else has any question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you for the class, wonderful class. So I have a doubt actually. So like you mentioned in the first class that Bhagavata Purana is one of the Puranas in the mode of goodness. Right? And I did research actually. So like it was, 6 Puranas are there in mode of goodness and 6 in passion and 6 in ignorance.
Yeah.
So there are some kind of, so like when you compare different Puranas, there is no doubt that Bhagavata Purana is the best, is the topmost. But if you compare the Puranas, there are some kind of contradictions. So like, so one Purana says one thing and other Purana says a different thing. So why it is like that actually?
Yeah, very good question. I told you these Puranas are smritis of they're the smritis of all the sages who have been sitting in different parts of the world and Himalayas, and then they are getting all these waves, cosmic waves, which are full of these narrations. And you must remember that there is not only one Satya Yuga and there is not only one Kali Yuga. This is a repetition, right?
Yeah.
So certain things have happened in some different Satya Yuga, and which is contemplated by one of the rishis, and he, Vyasadeva takes it out from him. The similar situation happens in some other yuga taken by somebody else. The reference of context is different. It's not that always the same thing will happen. It's not like a stereotype. Okay? It changes. The reference changes. The place changes. The situation changes. And so that's why a contradiction appears. So it's all happening at a different, these 18 Puranas, everything has been compiled, taken from a different time period. And different
yugas, actually. Okay.
yeah, that's how there is a contradiction. Because for example, Govardhan Hill, we know that Krishna lifted and all, that some places it says that actually Hanumanji, when he was asked to bring Sanjeevani for Lakshman, he actually lifted Govardhan. And he was flying, and then by the time he got the news that things have been already done there, So because he was taking one mountain and keeping it there and then running again to get another one like that, So when he came to know, he was flying over Mathura right now, which is there. So he brought it down. That's how it goes, so they're different. But there's no contradiction actually. It appears as a contradiction, but they are true for that time according to that person. There's nothing like cross-checking in Puranas,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's not that, okay, somebody says Agni Purana, then somebody else has talked about, let's say, Brahmanda Purana. So you cannot say, no, you are wrong there, actually, it happened with you like that, it happened with us like here, like that is. So that's why Puranas are historical facts. It's happened, but it's happened in a different context and different place. That's why it appears contradictory. Because if it's only one was true, there we were doing a big war between the two Puranas, trying to establish. But if you see, there is never ever been a discussion about, Puranas contradicting or something.
Okay. Fine, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, in line with this question only, like some Puranas say Shiva is the supreme. Some say Vishnu or Krishna is supreme. So how that contradiction we can say that, when we say of different yugas had different stories. So how to interpret that?
See, the thing is like this. The word Bhagavan is the supreme, right?
Yes.
It has been used as we go in Bhagavatam, we'll see that sometimes Narad is also called Bhagavan. Somebody addresses, it's like what we say as respect. Some great personality, you respect him, you say, oh, Bhagavan. But then that cannot be taken as an absolute thing, The absolute thing comes from the conclusive from all. What is the final conclusion? Accepted by, see, that's why when we read Bhagavad Gita as it is, and when Arjuna tells Krishna that you are the supreme, and then he says, not because I am your friend or something, but because all this, he gives some names also. Narada, Vyasa, Devala, etc. Those were all great personalities at that time. And then all the acharyas, everybody is accepted. So yes, for example, if you are a devotee of Lord Shiva, okay? So in every situation, we will glorify him only, right?
Yes.
So that doesn't mean, so my point is that unless everybody accepts, you cannot declare that. And that's what happens in Bhagavad Gita. It says that everybody accepts. You see all the different acharyas, Madhvacharya, Shankaracharya, Ramanacharya, we know only of them. We don't even know of the ancient rishis much, right? But even in the modern context, in last couple of thousand years, everybody has accepted.
Okay.
Everybody has accepted, right?
Yeah, probably.
So there's no contradiction there. But yes, in Purana that will happen. Sometimes, as I said, Narada is also Bhagavan. Now what do you do to that? Vyasadeva is called Bhagavan. Narada is called Bhagavan. I used to ask this question in the beginning when I was reading in the first time. Same questions came to me, and then I got a very nice answer that everything is with a reference to context.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I was also about to ask that question, so but Prabhu asked that. Okay. And yeah, so
I think we are running out of time because it's almost
okay.
now. So anything, it's a continuous thing. So you can always keep your questions for next day. No problem.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
I just want to say happy birthday to Mataji.
Yeah, she just went up.
Okay. And one more thing, Prabhuji, Ekadashi is tomorrow or day after tomorrow?
Tomorrow. You see, check the Vaishnava calendar, We go by Vaishnava calendar. And
okay.
it is, in India, it is day after, but I think here we have it tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.